Do you have to like mentally visualize yourself there as you're doing this?
I figured out that I had to visualize calling that play. Like, what would it feel like to see a crossing route where a dude gets blown up as the ball is arriving, and then imagine calling that, because if it's just like a line on a page, that's not going to give you an idea. So, I imagined it was kind of fun to do that, because it's a long off season in this sport. You don't call games, and then you're in there trying to put yourself in that headspace and imagine. As I said, you imagine stuff that you never see in the game too. I mean, there's so many crazy scenarios that Kirk and I talked about that you just wouldn't see.
Now you're prepared
with
for
actual coaches making decisions.
Now you're prepared.
I'm prepared. If somebody wants to punt on second down, if whatever happens.
The Iowa games this year.
Are you an Iowa fan? Are we on the record? No, we had a little bit of fun. There were some outtakes that I'm afraid I don't ever want to get out. There was stuff like, first and Iowa, a little extra energy for that. No, I'm kidding.
But you have interactive lines with Kirk. You have dialogue with, even though you didn't record together.
We did record together.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
okay.
We did. We had some sessions together. Well, there's plenty in the game that we were not recording together, but we did some stuff in the booth, set up for some games, and then reacting to certain plays and situations where we did record together. It was neat to do that, and it felt very normal, felt very natural. Sure. So that was kind of fun. I think that people probably be able to tell that we recorded at the same time, and it wasn't stitched together, because there's just that little authenticity that you get when it's done that way.
Did you talk a little bit about like some of his experience, or did you talk to anyone about maybe kind of?
Probably should have more. No, I didn't. I didn't actually do that, because I thought that it wasn't, again, I've announced for a long time, so it wasn't an alien situation. It's just trying to tweak the energy. But I obviously listened to commentary, and people didn't have 100% positive things to say about commentary in games, right? So I wanted to just kind of have a fresh start to it. I wanted to do as well as I could, so that matched everything else you see that went into this game. The commentary should be better, because everything else about the game is better. So.
Was there any research that had to go into schools that you might not have call as often as others, like the smaller schools, or other, like there's 134 schools there, you can't call them all. So were you getting yourself familiar with the players?
There's a lot of schools in the game that I've never called, I promise. No, I mean, I wasn't really. I mean, it's stitched together, so I'm not really talking about like Kennesaw State's traditions in that way. But no, I mean, I think that football, so I didn't research specific schools or anything like that. I don't think that you'll see. It's not like I'm doing 2 paragraphs on the traditions of every school.
Right.
I mean, we did Florida State and some other schools, but we couldn't do that for all 134. I don't think gamers even want to hear that. They just want to get going with the game. So.
Go ahead. Do you remember how many hours approximately you and Kirk recorded together?
I would say about 10. We probably did about 5 2-hour sessions. I will say that his part was heavier lifting, because I'm doing, for those kind of joint comments, I'm kind of setting it up, and he's doing the analysis. So he's having to think about what he would say in that situation. And again, they're talented folks who try to script it, but neither Kirk nor myself are going to have to read somebody else's copy. He's going to want to say what he would say in that situation. So he had to do a lot of ad-libbing. So he took more takes than I did. My part was simple.
The voiceover work that you do that has nothing to do with this game, are you normally working in front of a visualization of where you're recording over? Like, you get to see the commercial as you're doing it?
Sometimes, more in a documentary, you'll narrate. The voiceover can be the last thing done.
Sure.
So you'll narrate to pictures and music, and it helps you get into that headspace.
Yeah.
Most of the time, we're doing wild lines, or it's cold. You don't see stuff in front of you, and I didn't see anything in front of me. We're not calling plays that we're seeing here. Right. It's all just in the imagination. And then the only thing close to that was when they played the simulation. I wanted to redo some stuff based on what I'd seen with pictures and calls together. But no, we're doing it just into a mic.
Is there anything that you really enjoy about presenting on Saturday and that you brought over to college football that maybe they didn't have in place before, like a tradition that you do or an inflection that you do that you really made your own here?
Well, they thought of everything. I'll say that. There's nothing they didn't think of. I wasn't offering a lot that they hadn't already come up with. But I think you want, because you do this a long time, and it's really gratifying that people enjoy hearing you talk about their team. And so I wanted to bring a few things that I would have said organically, that just kind of came up over the years of doing this, that in the game. And people, when I would post a video, they'd say, well, are you going to say it's a foot race or something that seems so simple, but it's a part of a call,
Yeah.
And then, okay, yeah, I should do that. I should make it sound as real as possible. So I was reminded by those guys of certain things that to make it seem as real. I think Kirk would probably say the same thing, and Reese and others who played their part. It's not different from what you do for a living. You just it's just a different expression of it.
Are you surprised a little bit that, I mean, you posted some videos obviously on Instagram about it, but are you surprised at the passion of this game coming out in the next month or so, and what people are reacting to it?
I was surprised when I saw how initially, because again, I couldn't talk about this for a long time.
Yeah.
I couldn't even say it was in the game. I mean, it got out there kind of. It wasn't a very well kept secret, I guess. But I couldn't talk about it, and then when I finally did that first video, and it just blew up, and it was being amplified by probably some people here and others, that I was like, my God, these people are starving for any tidbit. And I guess that the degree of that surprised me a little bit, but it's I'm well acquainted with the passion for the sport. I think it's a little bit. Soccer was brought up in the presentation. I'm a huge soccer fan too, so it's a little bit akin to that, European soccer, South American soccer. But no, I think the sport's kind of unique in the depth that people feel. So that definitely came out in the feedback, and I think it's just beginning. Like, once people actually see this and play this, I'm not kidding. There'll be more people talking to me about this than actual games I call. I guarantee that.
At what point did you have that realization that you were going to be in something that was going to resonate with maybe a different section and something that was going to last for a long time?
Well, I was aware of how it resonates when I wasn't involved in it. I mean, I told you. I mean, it bothered me a lot, and there's not much that I don't really live with regrets. But I mean, not being able to do that, I thought was really unfair, and it just bothered me. And here's Kirk involved in it, Nestler and other guys that I knew were friends, and So I was aware from the start when they brought this game back that it was going to be really well received, and that I wasn't going to take no for an answer and wanted to be involved in it. So, But again, as it unfolds and it gets closer and closer, and little tidbits are released, you get it better. And also, once I saw the quality of it, again, I'm not saying I was shocked, but I just had no idea that there was going to be that kind of commitment by everybody. Every single person who played any role in creating this wanted to do their part as well as they could, and that comes out on the screen. So.
Kirk has done this before. Did he tell you how much more his workload is this time around than the past?
He did. Then he came to Orlando and did it here. And yes, he did inform me that, let me tell you something, this is way different. I mean, and again, it's way denser because every aspect of this game is much denser and richer than it was before. So, yeah, he let me know that the commitment and the kinds of things he was being asked to talk about. It's just so much, and that's the thing that you know better than I do, that people get frustrated when every call sounds the same, right? And there's a generic nature to it. There should be nothing generic about a football game or a video game about football, right? So, it was. I mean, I don't know what it was. Probably 100 times richer than what he first did, and so it meant a lot more hours of doing it. I had no idea at the start of it, like how long it was going to be, and neither did they. As they developed the game, more and more things came up that we needed commentary to cover, and so I think that they were probably caught a little bit by surprise that as the detail began to evolve, we needed someone to talk about it, and so that's why we spread these out over 2.5 years.
How much head start do you get when you hey, we need you to record this much? How far ahead of time do you know that?
Oh, we work in the schedule. I did some within football season, but most of it was out of season, and so it's just like we did them in the morning, like usually about 9 to noon or 9 to 1, and they would. I hate to schedule anything that I'm going to have to change, so only a week or two out will we put the date on the calendar, and they were pretty flexible. So.
When do you start working on 26?